My amendment to H.R. 4230, the Clean Industrial Technology Act of 2019, would modify the bill to prioritize the role of the advisory committee, provide limited preliminary authorizations for research and technical assistance programs, and establish a timeline for the sunset of this program. By adopting my amendment, I believe this bill could progress to the full committee with bipartisan support, which we all know, as the ranking member said in earlier comments, gives it the best chance of becoming law. As I mentioned in my opening statement, I believe this bill has potential. But to put it simply, I think we're trying to run before we walk, Mr. Chairman. My amendment would allow the advisory committee established in Section 4 of this bill to develop appropriate technology and research benchmarks through the emissions reduction roadmap. I don't think any of our colleagues claim to be an expert in industrial emission reduction technologies. So if we're going to stand up a committee of professionals, I think we should give them the chance to help us develop an effective research program. We should be hearing from stakeholders, academics, and industry representatives who are experts in these relevant fields. By bringing together these individuals with relevant federal agencies, I'm confident we will receive appropriate near-term and long-term qualitative and quantitative objectives that are actually achievable and realistic. I know we're all anxious and excited to do our job, but before we write pages of descriptive directions for agencies, maybe we should let the advisory committee do its job and develop an effective research roadmap for that program. Additionally, my amendment eliminates the, quote, such sums as are necessary, end quote, authorization language from this bill. As an authorizing committee, I believe it is our responsibility to set the funding levels that we deem are appropriate. Allowing the appropriators to set funding levels concedes one of our greatest responsibilities, and I would add privileges. Instead, my amendment would direct DOE to conduct this research using existing funds authorized. With related research already taking place in the Office of Fossil Energy and EERE, the Department can expand existing work to meet new program goals. And if after hearing from the agencies, experts, and stakeholders on the advisory committee, we believe additional funding is required to accomplish these goals, let's authorize it. But throwing up our hands and leaving our work to the appropriators, the Appropriations Committee, is simply not the solution. Lastly, this amendment proposes reasonable sunsets for the programs authorized on this bill. We can't allow programs to continue forever, and sunsets force us to come back to the table, do our job, and see if we're still on the right track. I don't believe there's anything in this amendment that my colleagues could not support. But since I'd like to give Chairman Lamb and my Democratic colleagues the chance to come back to the negotiating table and work with us to find a bipartisan compromise on this bill, I'm willing to withdraw this amendment today, Chairman Lamb. Are you willing to work with me to incorporate elements of this amendment before we consider this bill in the full committee markup? I'm asking for you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. The answer to that is no. I will recognize myself in opposition to your amendment, but I just want to make sure that you're done first.
Well, I was trying to make sure that my amendment wasn't done.
Yeah.
Or does get done, and wasn't done in a negative sense. So the chairman is not willing to work with me.
We are certainly willing to work with you long term about the concerns that you've raised, but our plan for today is to vote on 4230 as it is currently written.
With that, I yield back.
Thank you.